Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to your Mars and Cancer 2024 Transit Talk. This is the Peace Dealer, and I hope you gain the utmost of clarity from said Transit Talk. Shout out to Michi in the building. I don't remember if you gave me permission to post the tarot report in the video you sent. If I can get some confirmation for that, I will post that. It was one of the best tarot reports I've done so far. Shout out to y'all joining us right now. Gratitude through the wins and the losses. Yeah, this is definitely a very important Mars transit. It's going to be in this sign throughout the rest of the year. And okay, thank you. Yes, I'll get work on posting that right now. And other than that, we are going to see a nasty retrograde with Mars. Okay. Yes, but I'm doing this early for my UK folks, the people in Europe, who this will be early enough for them. But yeah, this time is right after my consultations are over. So instead of pushing, I still want to do like 3 p.m. PST or like 6 to 9 Eastern, but I'm definitely going to keep experimenting with this noon here or 3 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, this energy is crazy. It's fluctuating. We're in the mutable moon. It's going to stabilize and build very powerfully once the moon goes into Capricorn. So it's good to know in hindsight. But anyway, preparation for war, folks. If you don't know, shit is heating up all around the world. And Mars directly is associated with the god of war. Okay. So let me actually align with you. Okay, there we go. Let me align with you what this looks like. There we go. All right, so check this out. What we're going to do right now to give you an insight around the nature of this God of War arc, right? Mars takes 2 years to transit around the zodiac. So every time that it activated its prospective cycles relative to this apocalypse cycle, we've seen direct evidence of war breaking out. And in using that as a reference, given that there's credence of reality to correlate this transit with real-time events, I'm going to really just break it to you. Shit is about to break out crazy. Like the whole retrograde portion is the god of war taking a shower in Cancer before it will oppose Pluto in Aquarius and now intensify all these conflicts in order to reach a climax. All right. So let's actually analyze why it's playing out like this. And for that, let's go into this makeshift peace mobile and go back in time 4 years. Okay. 2020, the year the apocalypse cycle started. If we go to March 20th, March 21st, 2020 was the beginning of this apocalypse cycle. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, famine, Jupiter in its fall in Capricorn. And we have actually verified this. If you look at the S&P index, every time Jupiter reached its dignity in Sagittarius 2019, and I think before that in like 2007, right before 2008, the market reaches a high. And then once it falls in Capricorn, the market dips down low. And this is something I was able to find out, which now linked consistency between Jupiter cycles and what happens around the world. Then we have the god of war, Mars. Then we have pestilence, Pluto. And then we have death, Kronos. All right. That was the apocalypse cycle. Well, what do we know happened in this period when Mars originally toured? What do you know? We had the COVID-19 pandemic, highlighting pestilence and expanding its influence globally, quite literally. Oops, too late. I didn't see this until I already highlighted it. Oh, okay, no, okay, the other one. Right. So, what do we know? Mars throughout this 2-year period retrograded in Aries. After the retrograde, came back around, and boom, 2022. So I showed you the chart of the last time, or the first time, Mars, okay, was conjunct Saturn, 2020. Then Mars came back around from that cycle of carnage and destruction, and then it activated the next cycle in Aquarius. This was 2 years after. All right. What happened during this period? I'll tell you. No, I'll show you. Mars came back around, and Vladimir Putin announced a special military operation. Okay. And Russia was at war with Ukraine. So once again, the god of war came back, established a new contract with Kronos and Aquarius. We have a new war. Oh, but it gets better. Okay. Because what do we know? Coming into 2023, Mars got out of its retrograde in Gemini. And by the time we came back around, and now Mars was in Pisces with Saturn this year, what had happened the year prior? In the midst of that cycle, we had conflict with Israel and Palestine. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So the reason why I wanted to highlight that is now we can quite literally track consistently these contracts that Mars makes with the world representation. Saturn is going to represent the global economy. It's also going to represent the world system. And that's why we look at cycles between Mars and Saturn, Mars and Pluto, Mars and Uranus. Okay. So now that Mars is in Cancer, it's going to go retrograde. And previously, we had the conjunction between Mars and Pluto. Boom. 4 at 0 degrees. This was where we activated this year. What that represents is the supernatural awakening of force and energy throughout the next 20 years. 2008 up until this point was to awaken the potential in your body. Now this is you actually knowing what to do with it with your mind. We awakened your body 2008 till now. Now till 2024, it's the awakening of your mind. The universe is mental. This is the supernatural level of now. We finished the Hunger Games. Now we're entering the Squid Games. That's not even a joke. I wish it was. So we want to look at this conjunction right here, because as of now, we are fully integrating everything that we activated. And that's the major purpose individually for you with this transit. You are feeling the supernatural power you have awakened, and you're integrating how it's supposed to feel. Because once we step into next year, after the retrograde, see, I'm going 6 months in the future. Where is Mars? Still in Cancer. So it has already come out of retrograde. And what is that going to set up, y'all? Boom. by the 24th of April in Taurus season, we're going to have this T square. If we're not at war by then, when Trump has already been put in office, if it's not Kamala or anyone else, we're going to be at war. Like, I'm just letting you know, this is the harvest right here. This transit is going to last until April 17th, 2025. That's a long fucking time. So this is the first 180-degree opposition since the conjunction that we had February of this year. Okay. So that's to give you an alignment of where we're headed. The North Node will have already activated the eclipse in Pisces. We will have gone through the most legendary rabbit hole of all time that's bringing us out of one world system into another. Look at where Neptune is, guys. 0 degrees Aries. Neptune in Pisces represents this influencer illusion that everyone got caught up in, whether you were for it or against it. It was a fog that was, influencing quite literally everyone. Neptune coming out of Aries is now this realization that we were all delusional as fuck. And now we're coming out of the smoke. Those of you who stayed woke, of course, you're going to realize that it's been a battlefield as we come into Mars or Aries of the warrior. And this is going to represent a transcendence of our identities, where concepts of identity politics will have kind of stepped into a crazier level. All right. So I'm keeping it vague because it's going to mean there's so much that we're looking at now that is going to take on new meaning by then. So this T square is very important. Not only are we opposing this, we're going to be aware of how this is all grounding and what footing we have to adapt to, where the South Node will be on Jupiter and Leo and Pluto on the North Node in Aquarius. So it's setting us up for 2027. All right. That being said, this is the year Uranus will also enter Gemini. So I wanted to show you that because that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about now until April 2025. And it's September now. So Mars is in Cancer from Sun in Virgo of 2024 all the way to Sun in Taurus of 2025. Okay. And the reason why that's very key is because as you're integrating this desire and power of the supernatural, you activated this extraordinary knowledge that now this 150-degree angle through Cancer is preparing you to integrate and tie all of that together. Okay. We can even see Mars at 29 degrees Gemini being this quincunx, being, of course, this Virgo angle that activated 29 degrees Gemini. And that served to transform and integrate the thought process that you will convert into the feeling of. Of course, Mars is in its fall in kids. Not everyone really acknowledges falls and exaltations. I'm not really one such person after studying from Glenn Perry or reading his book, but I still do acknowledge it to a degree, just not too much. Mars in its fall in Cancer, we really could just focus more on the emotion that an instinctual Mars function is not going to be the most at home in. And so this is challenging you to take actions outside of your own comfort zone, as you will feel more what you're doing and project the emotion in the form of charged power, which will add more to the depth of how you are integrating the feeling of acting off of the supernatural, so that by May of or April of 2025, you are beginning to harvest with the Mars and Leo opposition the supernatural energy by you performing it on stage, by you now socializing this. That's why Mars at the end of Cancer or going through Cancer is the last point of individuation that's not only going to harness this, but where does America have its natal sun? Cancer. So the god of war transiting America's Cancer sun really makes you think about every one of you who lives in this country and every one of you out of this country that will be affected by the events in this country. But this is not a mundane astrology talk. I just wanted to kind of highlight there's a lot much better mundane astrologers who are in tune with current events. I live under a rock. I don't try and keep in tune with current events. I like to react to the memes about it on social media and after the fact. And I don't plan to change that. I have a serious case of JOMO and I could give a fuck less. So let's actually do strict interpretation of what the stars are mathematically telling us, because, you know, this is the fucking truth. Mars, as it moves forward, did what? It activated its evolution with Jupiter. So all of this is occurring as an evolution of magic power, where you're evolving your mindset, and now Mars is having you take action off of these new attitudes that have evolved. So Mars is having you feel into this evolution as we eventually will come 30 degrees from this Jupiter in Gemini. All right, because Mars does move quicker than Jupiter, as it orbits quicker than Jupiter orbits around the sun. All right, or yeah, orbits, revolves. So the first decan of this is going to express itself through the rest of Virgo season. All right, I want you to see how we're coming from the moon in Sag to the full moon. By the time we come into the moon in Pisces will trine Mars. And we'll have the moon in Capricorn opposite Mars. This is going to have you both control and believe the right direction to begin to integrate this supernatural power in. And by the time we have the full moon in Pisces and you're harvesting and now experiencing the fulfillment of this new lifestyle by now releasing old beliefs that don't align with these new habits, you're going to provide this perspective shift of belief to influence the direction you drive that belief through feeling. This sets up the square between the nodes and Mars. And now the significance of this nodal square, right, is going to speak towards the 90-degree integration of this facet of destiny, since Mars actually conjuncted the North Node back in May. So this 13-degree conjunction was where, after all these personal planets activated your brain, your heart, and your awareness around your destiny, Mars began you actually taking action to do the mission. So by the time we get to the full moon in Pisces, this is where those seeds you sprouted in May will break through the ground. And even though you wrapped your brain, your heart, and your conscious to be aware of the deeper understanding of this back in July, now you're finally going to take action to deepen the integrative understanding of what to do in your mission. Oh, shit. This, of course, is going to carry us forward with the moon here that will reinforce this understanding, and 270-degree this Mars aspect, showing you the understanding of who you are and how that completes this deeper understanding of what to do. All right. Mind you, we're getting close to eclipse territory with the sun. Then, of course, we step into the second decan, September 21st, basically the beginning of Libra season. All right. The second decan, subruled by Scorpio, is set to intensify the feeling the first decan brought forth. So this first decan is happening from now until the first day of Libra, which is going to be September 23rd. What this is going to do is it's going to tune the feeling of this power. And some of you are going to be feeling this like you've never felt it before, because we're transitioning between cycles as you see everything around your world change, innovating new technology, releasing old traditions. All right. Maybe a couple mass extinction events setting up. Don't mind me. That being said, by the moon, the sub-rulership of the first 10 degrees of Cancer is the moon. We're feeling this sincere feeling. The second decan is Pluto. We're going to take the feeling where we're moving through with Mars, and we have to get a feel for this power. We have to get a feel for how we're beginning to integrate this. Then Pluto over the next 10 degrees is going to intensify and transform that feeling. So up until September 23rd, you will lock in on a basic feeling like, okay, this is what this feels like. Then we're going to intensify and purify this feeling over the next 10 degrees. This is what brings us to the 270-degree angle of this Libra season. We're starting Libra season off with the completion. All right. Understanding the sincere feeling will present towards others, with which helps us feel successful and guide the direction of this legacy, the legacy of this cycle before the new moon. And that's where Moon over Mars will directly activate this new 28-day cycle and help you understand the direction you are feeling to intensify this integration. We also want to highlight the square this will be making to the South Node that will be challenging you to align your actions sincerely with what you're doing with other people. The reason why this is important is you could be tempted to compromise taking action with certain people because it's not popular, because it's not socially accepted, where the North Node Aries challenge is more psyched towards authenticity. It doesn't matter what other people are fucking saying. Is this authentic to you? Does it feel right? That's what you're going to integrate with what you're connecting with people. And that may not be comfortable. This brings back Mars in its fall. A lot of what you may be pushed to do may be very deeply uncomfortable, but this intensity and integration is what's going to push you forward and develop you exponentially quickly. All right, in an accelerated fashion. We want to also look how after this deeper understanding, we will see Mars make a direct trine to Saturn retrograde. Okay. So in Gemini, it made the square. The seeds through March with the Mars conjunction with Saturn sprouted through the ground. And for those of you who want a visual, let's go back, of course, to March. This is where we activated and planted the seeds. Okay. And then when Mars was in Gemini, this is where the seeds broke through the ground. We began to integrate. And of course, by the end of September, we're going to now fully express the integrity of our beliefs, the war contract, the final war contract since 2020, the last three elites, 1, 2, 3. In Aries, it's going to reset. That's New World Order time. But the last contract here, we're going to start to press the accelerator and go to the max speed we can go. We're creatively integrating and developing how we can feel the power of our integrity beliefs, of our system of beliefs. All right. This now is going to coincide with the new moon eclipse in Libra. And that eclipse squaring Mars is what's not only going to unlock the final superpower of this eclipse, because the whole purpose of this South Nodal Libra eclipse last year, October, and this year, October, is unlocking superpowers. But last year, Jupiter was in Taurus, and we were manifesting the quality of these powers on our body. Now in Gemini, we have a full of expansive vocabulary to wrap around it. All right. And this is what's going to set the stage for us to now step into the North Node that will go into Pisces. So for those of you with Pisces risings and Virgo risings and suns, it's going to be very amazing. Put him on, let him know how dope the readings are. The readings are definitely dope. If you want insight into your natal chart, transit forecast will give you an insight into what's happening. That's because we are, and this is the perfect time to do this. I'm still waiting to get my state ID to fill out my DS11. But yes, my readings are 50% off on sale until September 21st. So you can go to my website. You'll see they're automatically marked off. The 15-minute readings are like $50. The 30-minute recorded reports are like $100 if you want a recorded report. And if you want a consultation, you can see those rates. But yes, the reason why this is very significant is this is a milestone since April with the eclipse. So everything that you've done, right, from April to actually move in this inventive original direction you're destined to go in, this is the second and final harvest of that, where now you're going to see how the direction you took impacts your relationships with others and what archetype of relationships you must depart from, as well as also move forward with. All right. In pursuit of godliness, I'm going to share a video. For those of you who want to know, I want you guys to look up this video right here. Because for those of you guys who want that status, this is the time to do so before shit gets even weirder. So you see this video, guys? Oops. This video right here, how do I get on the do not detain list by High Frequency Radio? Watch that video. Okay, it'll at least give you an idea of how to get started. All right, how do I get on the do not detain list by High Frequency Radio? Thank me later. All right, wonderful video. That being said, okay, this new moon is going to prepare to shift everything. This was around the period why I was able to predict wars. Like before the Ukraine conflict occurred, I predicted it because of the nodes. Before the Israel Hamas happened, I predicted it because of the nodes. So this is another nodal activation in preparation for the elections. Be very mindful. And the square it's making to Mars is just meant to change the direction of how you're integrating the supernatural power. All right. Boom. Post new moon, we're activating this unlocking of superpower that's going to take how you feel about integrating this and apply it towards your relationships. Mind you, by this point, we're on the I Told You So tour part 2. All right. So we're presenting our receipts, and that's what's going to bring us to the third and final decan of Cancer, sub-rulership of Pisces. The intensification of these feelings and emotions with the second decan is going to, of course, and personally, I just subscribed. I was sent the video, so I haven't tuned into him, but he seems legit. I'm gonna watch more of his videos. But yeah, that being said, the third decan, the first decan was to feel it. The second 10 degrees was to intensify it. And once we've intensified the feeling, we can now imagine and transcend the vibration of it. That intense purity produces a perspective and a much more transcendent feeling. It's going to really influence why and how you direct this moving forward. This is also where we're going to step into retrograde territory. So we're going to get ready to go into the full moon in Aries. Boom, we have that full moon eclipse 2 weeks later. And the T square that's being made, of course, to Mars is going to revisit this integration of how you feel about your power. All right. And the only challenge here, once again, is in making sure that the way you feel doesn't get in the way with the actions that have to take. With these squares, there are going to be things you want to do, but you may be inhibited from doing, and things you don't want to do, but you're pushed to do, and a combination of all sorts of other variables. All right. So this is where, as Mars is getting ready to station and retrograde, we are completing this final part of the eclipse before the nodes transition signs. All right. We also want to take into account that Mars will not only be trining Venus and intensifying the polishing and beauty of how we deepen psychologically this power we are integrating, and also close this sextile with Pluto that's down direct. But Mars will lightly sextile Uranus and trine Neptune, adding divine unconventionality to the way we're integrating this supernatural power. That's what brings us now, since the transit started, mind you, to the next moon on Mars. But this time, as we cross over into Scorpio season. So if you remember, when we started Libra season, we had the moon cross over Mars. And the moon helps us understand Mars, the feeling of the power in Cancer. We did that as we were getting ready to start the I Told You So tour and present receipts. Now we're doing this again at the end of Cancer as we're getting ready to transform everything and intensify and add sauce to how we're transforming our relationships with other people. Okay. This happening lightly sextiling Uranus once again is going to sneak peek the level of innovation that's possible. And that's where now, as Mars is getting ready to leave Cancer during Scorpio season, where it reaches its peak at 28 degrees, okay? Then it reaches 29 degrees at the very end. It opposes Pluto. And this is the true harvest. But the reason why I'm counting Leo and Aquarius, obviously, is because of the retrograde. So the new moon in Scorpio is going to bring this initial powerful harvest of the supernatural power. It's a mini boss battle as well. This is sextiling Uranus, trining Neptune, okay? And this is where now, as you have intensified the field, by this point, you have a full understanding of how this new awakening of power feels, okay? You have a very, very, very more deeply psychoanalytical, specific, precise execution of expressing this power so that when it goes into Leo, we're socially performing it on stage. All right, you're taking it out the house. Cool. We reach 29 degrees. Does Mars reach 0? Mars actually reaches 0 Leo. All right. So we're going to kind of get a sneak peek of Mars in Leo. The moon is still activated newly. We go into 1 degree Leo. We have the opposition with the moon in Aquarius. All right, I want you to watch the play here. We go to 2 degrees Leo. Three degrees, 4 degrees Leo. Boom. Then as we end Scorpio season, bam biggie, we have the moon in Leo on Mars. So this is going to transition the potency you've understood by now having you feel the passion and courage to boldly express this. Mars likes to be in Leo, won't be there for long. But for this to happen, trine Mars, where it was originally squaring, is going to have you express full creativity towards your destiny. Albeit this understanding is happening opposite Pluto and Aquarius, which has gone back direct. So this is going to prepare for the second opposition. This Mars transit is going to bring 3 oppositions direct to Pluto. So once we step into Sagittarius season, Mars hits 5 degrees Leo, Mercury begins to retrograde. Okay, we have the new moon in Sagittarius. All right. And Mars finally begins to station and retrograde as Venus wins and is the first planet to awaken Pluto. Okay. So by the end of the year, this is where we are going to shift focus and reevaluate all of the power you have thus awakened and began to harvest. Remember, this opposition of Pluto is a harvest and 180-degree angle to everything we activated and sowed the seeds of February of 2024. Since February of 2024, now in December, Venus is reawakening at this 0-degree portal, which is going to set the whole tone for the year, mind you. I think Mars originally beat it, and now Venus is catching up because Venus was retrograde before 2023, and now Mars is retrograde again. All right. So, relative to that, just to recap, we know that Mars is going to go direct from Virgo season now in September to Sagittarius season. What do we know about Virgo season and Sag season? Virgo season is analyzing the harvest of the promise God made to you in March when we activated the Saturn sun. And Sagittarius is going to synthesize and interpret the meaning of this analysis and show us the meaning of everything we harvested. So the entire harvest period of the sun opposite Saturn to the square of Saturn is going to constitute this entire integration of supernatural power through Mars and Cancer. And once we now reach this ascension point with Mercury reevaluating what we think, because everything we're seeing is showing us how everything has changed since March, we're reevaluating our footing and our step. One thing we have to keep in mind is that by this period where you're completing the harvest that we're beginning now, is that your power, the energy that is rummaging through your fingertips, the synchronization through Sagittarius season, you're going to be actively performing and using these new supernatural abilities. You're already doing so, but through Virgo, the consistency, the potency of Libra, and the intensity of Scorpio is going to ascend this to the next level. What do you notice about Sag? It's opposite Jupiter. So this is the 180-degree harvest of the initial conjunction that Uranus, Jupiter, and Venus had in Taurus. So I want you to see how all these harvest cycles are coinciding, because coming into the end of the year is where this is going to very powerfully and very energetically release the excess of new energy that your body may not be able to handle. And thus the retrograde will reevaluate how to reintegrate all this. All right. So let's look at the play moving forward. As Mars is now moving backwards, what do we see oppose it? Venus. Okay. And this Venusian opposition relative to the conjunction that actually occurred in Capricorn and Aquarius is going to harvest the higher knowledge of your relationships and how you're going to be resituating the actions, because the nature of these relationships will have transformed 5,000 fold. But what we really want to look at is the subsequent retrograde of Mars back opposite Pluto. This is going to be the second time. So I want you to also notice how every time the moon meets Mars, we're ending the previous season. And this is going to help us understand what we're recapping. So this is the first moon over the Mars retrograde. But what I want to show you is the second point of harvest back into reintegration. So we're in Capricorn season. The sun is King Kunxing Mars, right? And As Mars now makes its opposition to Pluto on the new moon in Capricorn, it's also trining the North Node. So the very last day of December is going to be very iconic, very incredible, and very important. This Capricorn's new moon is going to have us push forward the completion of this harvest. So now we understand what to use and do with it. And it's going to set up the Pluto awakening coming into January 21st. So this opposition is revisiting the 29-degree opposition that we have had from Capricorn and Cancer. Okay. And the reason why this is key is now that we're reevaluating this harvest, this is going to intensify this supernatural harvest of power. And what this should feel like is you're literally doing things that you were previously told, according to postmodern science, was impossible. You've seen synchronicities that have alluded you to the fact that science was wrong about this, because science said that your dreams have no precognitive abilities, but you actually had prophetic dreams. You actually predicted with your intuition certain events that were going to happen. So all this harvest purports is your ability to do this at will, consciously, more consistently after Virgo season. And that's where Capricorn organizes this. So that's what I want you to keep in mind. The retrograde, as it goes back into Cancer, is reintegrating this feeling now that after it's opposed and gone into Leo, you don't have to understand how to feel about it because you're doing it. So, of course, from January to April, that's what's going to bring this reevaluative retrograde. The trine to now Neptune direct is going to revisit a whole lot of what you imagined you can do, so that now that you've done it, you can reimagine how much more to develop this. And of course, at the end of Capricorn, we're going to see the next moon on Mars, now retrograded into Cancer. So right now it's Virgo season. Right before Libra, moon's going to be on Mars in Cancer. Right at the end of Libra, beginning of Scorpio, moon's going to be at the direct Mars in Cancer. Right at the end of Scorpio, moon's going to be on the beginning of Leo. And right at the end of Sagittarius, moon's going to be on the retrograde Leo. And right at the end of Capricorn, it's on the retrograde Cancer. It's important to understand that these 28-day dumps are having you revisit the understanding of how you feel about this power that is harvesting. And it's going to have you touch base so you can make necessary adjustments. All right. As we complete the previous cycle through January to April, of course, we're going to continue to see Mars retrograde. This is where we can kind of move forward in weeks. Venus is, of course, restarting its contract. The sun is reawakening this official 20-year cycle because Pluto's not going to retrograde back into Capricorn. So this is the real deal. This is where the Squid Games really starts, guys. All right. That being said, we're moving forward into February. As we end Aquarius season, of course, the moon will go over Cancer again, but you see it's happening not closer to the end, of course, because of the degrees and the cycles, you know, it not being exact or having to be. Then we have the new moon, right? So check this out. We come back here, and as we set up the new moon, boom, Mars is direct. We can even see by day when that happens. So direct. It stations when the moon is in Capricorn, opposite Mars, and it goes direct, baby. So by this point, we're done reevaluating. We're back to intensifying the feeling. Jupiter's direct, ready to go into Cancer. Uranus is direct, ready to touch Gemini. Neptune and Saturn are direct, ready to touch Aries. All right, the North Node is in Pisces, and we're ready, of course, to have this new moon eclipse. Boom. All right. This new moon eclipse rabbit hole is going to completely shift everything you believe about everything. because of the events that are going to be happening in the world, revolutionary psychic chaos. And a huge deal about this with the awakening of the new generation, people born after 95, is this is giving you a sense of exhilaration because now you're a part of this new era. You're experiencing more capability and more potency around abilities and beliefs that were just an imagination. And through Virgo season, you made it real through your habits, all right, through your lifestyle. You've developed real techniques that now your psychic abilities have ingrained, right? And what that looks like is some of you are learning new skills and techniques, and you're not using your psychic powers to learn it. Because if you used your intuition, you would rely on your intuition. So you're developing a consistency of proficiency at just a mere basic level. So once that's ingrained in your subconscious, then your psychic and intuitive abilities support that. All right. That way you're not just trusting in an illogical, unstable facet of intuition that's still developing. You're aligning it with, real skills you've learned and you've kind of mastered far beyond this point. All right. And the trine that Mars is making to this Pisces is going to align so much more understanding of your beliefs that anything you were doubtful from during this season in Virgo, you're going to be so much certain as all the planets are direct and ready to move forward. And basically, that's what's going to bring us now to the rest of this Mars in Cancer as we come out of Aries, Pisces season, enter Aries season, go into, of course, April. But what we want to see is, remember how we had Mars trine the North Node in Aries? We're going to have Mars trine the North Node in Pisces by the time the moon is back on Mars, getting ready to leave the sign. So this trine, when Venus begins to retrograde, is very significant. Once again, whatever's happening in the world is going to be nuts. And I can only think it's war. You know what I'm saying? Or civil war, world war. It's representing the end of the old world system since 30 years and like 248 years. As we get ready to like step into a whole new paradigm. Okay, something to keep in mind. So with that being said, that's going to lead into the end of this Mars in Cancer, where subsequently we will have the opposition of Mars to, of course, Pluto. So we're going to have this opposition 3 times. We're going to have this opposition 3 times. Okay. Susie, congratulations. All right, just keep up the great work. 2027 makes sense for World War III, although I feel like, it could be even sooner. But let me show you 2027. All of this is preparing us for 2027, by the way. This is the rabbit hole. Look what happens next year. Uranus is in Gemini now. It's getting ready to go in. Saturn and Neptune are in Aries, New World Order. But 2027 is the big kahuna, guys. Look, Pluto North Node, Jupiter South Node. God of War Mars in here. Like, this is going to be nuts, y'all. Which is actually kind of interesting. Okay, Mars is going to be back in Aries. So in 2 years from 2025, Mars is going to be in Leo. Opposite this again. So Twin Star Seed is not entirely wrong. If it's not sooner, this is probably going to be a climax. We are literally on the brink of a new paradigm as we speak. And that's why this Virgo season is one of the most important seasons, because this is the final point of change before we come back around to March and we go through this rabbit hole and everything begins to spill out into the new. All right. And all the technology that we have is going to kick off. So that's why this debate tonight, the elections in November, and the rest of this year coming into all of 2025, we're in the midst of the storm. We're in the thick of it. Mars in Cancer wants you to focus on your individual actions. Do not get distracted by everything in the media, by all of people's opinions. I promise you, as long as Saturn and Neptune are in Pisces, no one fucking knows what they're saying. You will have all this flawless analysis. You're going to have even me. You can apply that to me. That's why I'm giving you this speculation. I'm giving you this math, but I'm not going to really be certain on what it means, because still, this is all speculative. It's very variable in mutable signs. So no one knows what the fuck they're talking about. I'm just letting you know that right now. There's a way that people will analyze things and events will happen that completely twist it around. So while we're in this Pisces storm, the dream storm, once we step out into 2025 and 2026 and Saturn and Neptune are in Aries and Uranus gets into Gemini, that's the next era. So in between then, you're seeing whole generations of people die. You're seeing new generations of children create the new world. You're seeing the end of one world system to transition into a new global connected system where we might spend one currency, we might spend more digital currencies. We'll probably still have the physical paper, right? While you're, you know what I'm saying? But this is just that weird transition period where you want to focus more on what your role is in this new era, because those are the powers that you're going to be activating. And do you know why you're integrating this power? Because you're preparing for war. And the reason why you're going to make it through the chaos of this war period, which personally, I feel like World War III and Civil War is not going to be as bad as we think. Like, I don't think there's going to be that much casualties because of the innovation of technology. I think these things might even be curbed very quickly, unless nukes are dropped and we have mutually assured destruction, which I hope does not happen. And I'm not even going to like wish for that. But it could account for certain mass extinction events. Pluto Aquarius. That being said, this is where, right, you are integrating the power that you are going to use to make it through this war. Supernatural power. So Virgo is showing you how this is going to actually play out. And Mars is going to drive this moving forward. All right. So that's really my interpretation. I did pretty much breeze through this. I literally just gave you a Spark Notes version of this Mars transit. So, you know, I want you to revisit this video, look at the dates I showed you, and do further deeper research. For those of you who, right, thank you, Mama Africa, because my initial introduction to the New World Order was ridden with a lot of conspiracy theories. And there was truth in those conspiracy theories, but it's just a bunch of speculation. It's a bunch of just made up shit. You know what I mean? And there's truth to it though. So I don't want to, dismiss it, but astrology showed me what that actually is. And it's without all of the conspiracy. Now, is conspiracy going to be attached to it? It might. Like the whole concept of elites in the world taking advantage of a transition into a new world system to globalize it and, take advantage. It's possible, but astrology showed me that we can look away from that and just look more to the fact that a new world order system is here. It's really going to be a two world order. I like that because of the nodes as well. So this is really a sneak peek. Mars in Cancer is preparing you for this next era. And it's going to challenge a lot of how your feelings will transform. As we're entering this now, the way you feel you're moving forward and why you do what you do is not going to be like next year, April, where you're ready to go and all the planets are direct. And you had your main character moment or your cutscene moment that really, with the opposition of Pluto, pissed you off so much, you're locking in so much more. Okay. Who's from Berlin here? I live in Vegas, right? But yeah, Beyond the Pale Horse, it was written, right? So something to keep in mind, right? For now, as the moon is going to come over Capricorn, this is going to help you understand how to utilize this integration of power. You also have to remember you live amongst some stupid, dumbass muggles who refuse to see into the supernatural quality of what you do because it doesn't reinforce their confirmation bias. So here's the best thing about Mars in Cancer, the psychic connectivity, because Cancer is the power of the psyche. The psychic connectivity and the emotions with Pluto going back into Aquarius, awakening telepathic channels is going to have you more than ever clap back to this psychic attack you're receiving. And that's where Virgo season is the turning point here with the I told you so tour through Libra, where everyone that's been talking shit behind your back and everyone that's been talking shit telepathically, they're not going to be saying shit October, November, December during the I told you so tour, because you're going to be showing off and you're going to be showing out as you're integrating this power. The strength and impotency of Mars going through Cancer as these WLBs are freaking out is going to terrify these same dark forces and influences wanting to manipulate you off low self-esteem, because you're exponentially coming into greater and greater power. You're popping out and you're showing ninjas. All right. Nelitos. All right. The reason negritos, the reason why this is very important is because the intensity of how much more salty and bitter beings are going to project at you is merely just reflecting every way in which they are wrong about you and how you're going to be on their neck and you're going to be on their ass. This is preparation for war. And I'm not even at this point talking about World War III. We can also bring in this psychological, psychic warfare. You're going to begin slaughtering people. And when I'm saying slaughtering, the reason why you're going to see the effects, some of you don't know the effects of just your presence and your intentions on other people. By the time Mars opposes Pluto, you're going to get pings and you're going to realize certain people got into car accidents. Certain people dropped dead because they were throwing negative energy at you and you maintained integrity. Things that are laughable now, people will not laugh in a few short months, in less than 1 month. So just keep that in mind. Any setbacks you've gone through is in an ingenious way using you as bait to set up those who are projecting on you, because they're going to die miserably. And that's not revenge, it's justice. This is going to awaken and mature you very fast, because you're going to realize, oh, wow, I wasn't even aware of this. And you're going to become increasingly aware of these projections and these projectings. So this marks a major turning point where now the power and property of your auric field is not only expanding post Jupiter, but preparing for you to move forward like a true G and a straight boss. Okay. So for now, do not lower yourself, because you're going to get these digs, you're going to get these ticks to kind of push a reaction out of you. And Mars in Cancer is irritated and emotional. So you can allow yourself to just react and respond. Look, you don't need to respond. Let me give you a prophecy. You are crypt walking over the graves of everyone who emotionally projected on you, of everyone who ever spoke behind your back, of everyone who's taken action to set you back, and the corresponding spirits that align. You are crypt walking on their grave by this time next year. So knowing that, you don't have to respond to their pettiness. They're only responding petty because they're intimidated of you. And they are irritated by your actions because they live a lie. And so the light is going to irritate their demons. That being said, knowing, and you can literally practice law of assumption, seeing in your mind's eye that you're dancing on their grave. I see you dancing on their grave. Like, what is this stiff ass Millie Rock that I'm doing? You're dancing on their grave. You're literally crip. I don't know how to crip walk. You're crip walking on their grave. You're doing the. Okay, these are some people who will try to kill you if they could. And it doesn't have to be specific people too. You can think collectively. You are literally going to be achieving victory through this I told you so tour. That's why they want to deter you before then. So knowing that victory is yours, just let them talk. Let them talk. Let them get off. There's so many people that are coping right now because what they believed would happen did not happen because they were living a lie. They weren't in integrity. And then on top of that, they're seeing you win. They don't like that. So let them cope. Let them talk shit. Let them project anything psychically. Say nothing. Just, you already know when this chapter is done, you're dancing on their grave. Remember, you're still in your Noah's Ark and you're getting ready to deboard that next year. They weren't in their lane. You're minding your business. They're trying to mind your business. And that's what's going to get them killed, because you're not going out of your way to mind their business. They're going out of their way to mind and criticize your business. And because they're not focused on their lane, they're going to get hit by a car because they're trying to criticize you. Ha, 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 ooh. And then you're going to dance on their fucking grave. Okay. All right. And anyone even trying extortion, it's going to backfire bad. Anyone trying to extort you, right? The lesson of this is you don't let anyone extort you. You have nothing to hide. Don't let anyone in this world ever extort you. Let them bitches know, if you will release that, then do it then. Do it then. And they're going to find out the hard way. God got you. God got you. We can continue to help and heal. And remind you, all that criticism they're doing is to influence you away from helping and healing others. So it's not even about you. They're taking their frustration out on you so that in being in low self-esteem, you don't serve others like you've been doing. So as long as you do that, you will be crip walking on these people's grave as soon as the end of the year. Okay? Any setbacks you're going through right now, by the end of this Mars transit in retrograde, you will have long since surpassed before the end of the year, this year. So it is going to get a little rocky. You may reach a crazy low point, but the whole point of this is to maintain the vision and belief you had since March, to maintain the knowing that success is yours. The only reason you're getting projected on is so you give up. Mars in Leo is the next transit. You know what Mars in Leo is? 7 of Wands. It's victory. It's not backing down. April of 2025 is going to have you step into victory, Mars in Leo, and 2027, where you don't back down from all the influences wanting you to back down and concede. All right. So as long as you don't give up, you mind your business and focus on your path, you will be dancing on the graves of an entire collective, people and frequency, that made a concerted effort to stop you. Now let's get a little bit deeper. All right. Because this is going to get really strange. You guys have seen the Truman Show. So you're going to be more aware than ever of the unconscious dynamic and element of facets of the collective going out of their way to screw you over. Some of you focus too much on the individual, but our enemy is not flesh and blood. Ephesians 4:12, 6:12, right? You're going to start to be aware of the Truman Show dynamic, where the people in the Truman Show are not people. They're higher metaphysical entities possessing physical flesh beings who have darkness in their heart, right? So someone that has negativity or darkness, especially towards you, those dark forces can infiltrate their vessel because the vibration is what they tune in with and inspire them with ideas so that they can play them on the video game. Someone who is detached, someone who is pure, someone who is in truth cannot be possessed because they don't have the vibration to let them in. So this is where some of you whose third eye is open, you're seeing how things are correlated by people who don't even know each other to deter you. This is what's going to make the rest of this year very rocky. With the opposition of Mars to Pluto, the only purpose of this is to make you give up. You don't have to do anything. You're going to be integrating the feeling of this power. And every degree you get higher, you're going to become more and more powerful. as long as you don't give up. Like, they're going to try and demean you. They're going to try and shame, guilt, manipulate you. Oh, I thought you were doing this. Oh, what happened with this? Oh, what happened with this? Sound delusional, but it's not delusional. Be like, bitch, I still got it like that. I'm still doing it. And they're going to hate it because they don't want to see you maintain that direction. They're going to act cool and be like, yeah, okay, okay. But then why are they minding your business? Because they're being used by evil to stop the good you're meant to do in this world, in that next era. Okay. So that's all you have to do. This preparation for war is going to integrate the supernatural power you're getting ready to harvest. And you are going to be challenged to maintain focus, even if everything appears to go against what you desire. But all you have to do is to allow these challenges to intensify your will, adjust as necessary, and move forward. Those of you who make it through this period, you're going to completely kick fucking ass as Mars goes out the house, enters Leo, and you stand your ground. Those of you who give in to the social and collective pressure because you forgot who you are and you forgot how valuable you are, you're going to get raped by these evil beings. But you're not a weak little bitch. You're going to kick ass. I know that. That's why you're getting psychically attacked, because they're scared of you. They are terrified of you. You are a rare individual who is tapped into your own unique power. Do you know how much concerted effort has been put into brainwash the population, feeding them useless programs so that they believe that, oh, this is just spiritual bullshit? And then there's you, who they have to constantly make fun of and get at so that you don't keep moving in that direction. You're the meek who will inherit the earth, while everyone gets drowned by these waters because God told you to build that ark and you built it. It's as simple as that. All right. So just want to keep that in mind. None of this is ha ha, na 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 na, boo boo, we got revenge. This is justice. You have been fucked with and gaslighted on a level that's psychologically traumatizing. And you are getting full victory. You're not just getting a little victory. You're not compromising with the enemy. You are massacring the enemy with your spirit team, and then you're spitting on their corpse, and then you're dancing on their grave. This is justice. This is not a fucking joke. And you will be guided every step of the way. All you have to do is maintain that focus. And all these people are about to realize, not only are you a force to be reckoned with, the worst thing they ever did was fuck with you. They're unfortunately going to have to die to realize that. And you're not going to shoot anyone with a gun. You're not going to smack anyone in the face, unless you want to. You're not going to commit a battery charge. You're not going to argue with anybody. You're just going to focus on what it is you're doing, everything they're trying to distract you from. And the more you focus on that path, the more you're going to see their destruction, because they invested to get you off that path. And that's their karma and judgment. You are developing skills that are going to help thousands, millions. And so their decision to deter you from that is their karma, and they're going to get it in full. That's all I got for this transit talk. If any of you would like a live reading, you can email me your chart. The minimum is $30. But if not, I will reconvene, I think, tomorrow. Yeah, with the pick a card reading. Okay. I'm so grateful for you guys. As we go through these ups and downs, just remember that you have only just begun to awaken your potential. Okay. I wore this because of the debate. This debate is happening between two angels. One is a light bearer with Lucifer on her moon, fallen Libra sun, angel Gemini rising. The other is with an Aldebaran linked angel, right? With Uranus and the North Node. They both have North Node in Gemini. So this debate is a canon event. And I believe that Trump is an anchor being. If you've seen Deadpool 3, okay? So you're going to see two angels face off. It's not Gemini versus Scorpio, which is a mismatch. It's Gemini versus Libra. If anyone can give Trump a run for his money, it's Kamala. People keep sleeping on Kamala Harris. If anyone can give Kamala a run for her money, Trump is finna embarrass her. Okay, so just be very mindful. This is going to be a historic and iconic debate. Am I going to watch it? It's too historic. No, I'm going to wait until the memes come out on social media. I'm not being sarcastic. I'm going to wait until the memes come out. I'm going to wait for it to die down. Once the hype dies down, then I'll watch it. You should probably watch it live. I'm straight because I know that this is between two angels, a fallen angel versus an angel. And I'm not saying that one is good and the other is bad. No, I'm just saying one is falling and one is actually a main canon character. All right. Although they're both main characters. Regardless. That being said, that doesn't mean that Kamala is not destined to win, right? Or Trump. This is battle of destiny. They both have North Node in Gemini. So just be very mindful of speech and language patterns. Mind you, this is between two angels. These are not two political candidates. These are not two political candidates. These are two angels. All right. Disguised as human beings. And I'm saying it so it sounds as crazy as it sounds. Watch it knowing that. Trust me. You may see Kamala Harris shows her true colors. All right. Because this is crunch time. Kamala Harris has held her power back the entire time. No one even knows how powerful she is because she's been behind Biden. She's been holding her power back. Trump might push her into that corner. And mind you, he was labeled a felon and he almost got shot. So he's going to take all of that out on her. It's just going to be lit. Anyway, you guys stay blessed as always. I'm going to resume tomorrow with the pick a card reading. And until next time. Oh, and if any of you guys want to, hook me up with a tip, I do have my Cash App and PayPal down below. It's not necessary. You could even just send me a prayer. Pray that I finish off the week successful in what I'm doing and trading and whatnot. Just send me a great intent. I took a pretty heavy loss this morning, but I learned from it and we'll be all right. You guys stay blessed as always, and until next time.